Indy, like Daniel Jones isn't the answer. Anthony Richardson still needs like 10 years to develop into a quarterback. So honestly, I just wait and see if a contender's going to pick up. And then if Indianapolis calls, I would say that would be the best bet for him as well.
Yeah, I like Indy. I like the idea of him sitting out too because we saw with like Peyton Manning, right? He wasn't the same guy in Denver the last Super Bowl that they won. So if he can go along, maybe somebody goes down, he fills in and he can win another ring. That would mean so much for his legacy. The fact that he can carry on, kind of follow a great defense. Like if, for example, Sam Darnold goes down, you go on that Seahawks team, or maybe you go to the Texans with CJ Stroud going down. I feel like those two guys make the most sense. Jordan Love falls down. We see what happens with the Packers. Maybe there's a reunion there, but that could be an interesting side. But otherwise, I think he should just retire. He's had a long career. He is where he is all the time. I don't see that changing very much.
Yeah, and I think honestly, he played well last year, and I don't think he's at a point like a Ben Roethlisberger, a Drew Brees, or a Peyton Manning was at the end of his career. I don't think throwing was necessarily his issue, and he was essentially a mid-tier starter the past few years. I mean, 2024, he had 3,900 passing yards, 28 touchdowns, 63% completion percentage, and a 90 QBR overall. So I think overall, like, he's been a pretty successful starter. I still think the arm strength is there, and I don't think that was really the issue against Houston. I think the issue was he was going up against one of the best defenses in the league without a run game, with DK Metcalf coming off a 2-game suspension because he thought punching a fan in the face was acceptable after they paid him all of that money. And then after that, he was just hoping that Adam Thielen was going to step up for him. And his number one target was Adam Thielen going up against one of the best defenses in the NFL of the past 5 years in the playoffs for Pittsburgh. So, like, I don't think Aaron Rodgers was necessarily the issue for Pittsburgh last year. So, if he can go to a contender where their quarterback gets injured next year and then fill in and go on a little bit of a playoff run, that could be a good bet because I don't necessarily think Aaron Rodgers was as painful to watch as Big Ben his last 2 years, as Drew Brees versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or Peyton Manning in 2015 when he went on a Super Bowl run. Like, Bo
Yeah.
Nix gets hurt again, he goes to Denver with Sean Payton. Like, you don't think that's a team that could have some success in the playoffs with Aaron Rodgers if Bo Nix' ankle isn't able to hold up?
Yeah, I can see it. 24 touchdowns, 7 picks, 65% completion rating in Pittsburgh. You go somewhere. I know he's always wanted to play for the Niners. Brock Purdy goes down. You want to play for the Niners. That could be fun, but ultimately, it remains to be seen. A lot of these older guys, we'll see if they end up even signing somewhere or if they just retire, but we'll learn all of these over the next few weeks as free agency begins to develop a little bit.
Any other QBs that are free agents, like any backups or journeymen that could have an impact?
So we have Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Daniel Jones, Marcus Mariota, Joe Flacco is available as well. He'll be the guy that sits out 100%, fills in when he needs to. Kenny Pickett, Jimmy Garoppolo, Mitch Trubisky, who I don't think anybody should sign. Then we have Gardner Minshew of the world, Tommy DeVito. So there's enough people there that proven that they can step in. Josh Johnson, who's played for the most teams in NFL history. Who does he need to play for?
Joe Flacco did say he would be open to playing with Pittsburgh to be the first person to play for all four AFC North teams.
Wouldn't hate
I
that.
mean, Joe Flacco is someone who is open to the idea of playing for all four of those teams.
That could be fun. For Josh Johnson, he's played for Tampa, Cleveland, Cincy, San Fran, Buffalo, New York, Houston, Washington, Detroit, Baltimore, and then Washington again. So where else does he need to go? Maybe the Chargers. He can be the backup for the Chargers.
Don't
So it
they
should be
already
fun.
have Heineken?
I think he's gone now. He's a
He's
free
gone
agent.
now.
Yep. Should be fun.
He's
He
another
should be in
player that
the,
needs to go to the USFL.
yeah. Receivers.
Honestly, Joe Flacco. I would love to see Joe Flacco light it up in the USFL. If they make it like similar vibes to the Big Three, like with Ice Cube's
Yeah.
league.
Yeah. I think that could be fun. But that is our breakdown of the salary cap and free agency. Shifting gears here, we did have the NBA All-Star game. Did you happen to catch any of the All-Star game?
I did not. It looked pretty entertaining though. I saw USA one. Were they doing like the tournaments where they did like a couple different games again? It looked more competitive than it had been in the past.
Yeah, so they had like Team USA versus like Team World. So like you had the Wembys, the Jokic, Shea, all these other guys pairing up against Team USA, and it kind of came down to the wire. I didn't watch too much of it, but it was a pretty fun game all around. But USA did prevail. But it was the first All-Star game in about probably a decade that was actually competitive. You could tell that they actually kind of cared. And I feel like building it with Team World versus Team USA builds like the patriotism of each team, each side, gives it a little bit more flair. So honestly, I think this is a huge win for the NFL and the NBA. I mean, so I liked what I saw here.
Yeah, I think that's a good strategy for the NBA because you are definitely getting a lot more global, especially arguably the top three players in the league going forward are international with SGA, Jokic, and Wemby. Jokic and Wemby are definitely my top two players in the NBA at this point, and then SGA depends on how many free throws he gets, but you can interchange him with someone like Jason Tatum or Giannis at this point in the top five there. But I do think it's a good strategy because you actually build some competitive nature and then you can actually see if Team USA or Team World is better. I think Team USA will just have more depth for the most part, but Team World, like, they put up a good fight. So I like that there was actually some competitive spirit. It looked like there was some good plays. Jalen Brown had a good showing, had some good passes to Kevin Durant. But yeah, looked fun
Yeah.
overall. I saw Damian Lillard too. I was shocked that he was competing in the 3-point competition, but I guess when you have an Achilles injury, there's not really much else you can do besides shoot threes. And he is now one of three players in NBA history to win three 3-point competitions. And it's kind of unfair that Dame was in the 3-point competition because that's really all he does when he's rehabbing. I know he's doing a lot more in training, obviously, and working up to returning for the Portland Trailblazers for some reason instead of a contender. But yeah, just seeing him come back and then win the 3-point competition, that's always been my favorite part of All-Star Weekend. I believe the other one is Larry Bird, who won 3-point competitions, and Larry Bird was doing it in jeans when he won it. And who's the third player?
I want to say it was it Kyle Korver? I think Kyle Korver did it.
I wish we had Sam Hauser though. I feel like Sam Hauser's been a little bit slept on. He's definitely someone who I would have liked to see in the 3-point competition this year.
Yeah, I would have liked to see him as well. You could have seen like the Grayson Allens of the world. He's been good. The other one was Craig Hodges, who I would have never guessed was the
Who?
3-point con. Yeah, he's a older player, Craig Hodges. I think he played
Would
in
he
the
win this
80s.
in the 60s?
He looks very old. Let me look this guy up. Um yeah, this is like an East player cuz he was yeah, let me look at this guy up a little bit. He played back in the 80s. Yeah, he played for the San Diego Clippers, the Bulls, the Suns, and he's a three-time point. He won three straight 3-point competitions actually back in the early 90s.
Why are we doing this? Why is all of San Diego's team moving to LA? LA does not need two teams. I guess it's a big city, but I mean, you don't see Dallas stealing San Antonio's teams. You don't see like Houston teams moving over. I get San Diego's a smaller city, but now the Clippers move from San Diego and then you steal the Chargers from San Diego as well. And then both teams move there. And guess what? They don't have a fan base. Like Clippers fans like casually watch them. It's like if you move to LA and you don't like the Lakers, you didn't grow up a Lakers fan, you don't really know who else to root for. I guess we're going to be Clippers fans, but if your parents raise you in LA and you grew up there and you're a Clippers fan, I mean, you have some bad parents. Am I right?
So the thing is like if you're in LA and you're not a Lakers fan, you don't watch basketball. Because why the hell would you join the fan base of the Clippers for any reason at all? I don't care. You could be a Suns fan. They're fairly close. You could be a Warriors fan. You could be a Kings fan if you're so brave enough. But like nobody goes to LA and goes, "Yeah, I'll be a Clippers fan." Unless if you're just a nerd who has never seen the light of day because it's the same thing like if you go to New York and you choose to be a Mets fan. It's the same thing if you go to LA and choose to be a Chargers fan instead of a Rams fan. Like, it doesn't happen. You're going to be a Lakers fan. Would you rather have the legacy of Kobe and LeBron and Wilt or Chris Paul, who just whimpered into retirement after getting cut again from the Clippers, and then I believe the Raptors cut him?
Yeah, the Raptors cut him. Yeah, honestly, the legacy of Kawhi has still been more interesting than Chris Paul. The fact that your best team of all time is virtually unplayable in 2K at this point now. Like, you go back and you play as the 2014 Clippers, you're like, holy, this team was bad. I get we didn't shoot threes as much until 2016 when Steph really opened up the league, but how was he doing it with Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan? Like, what was Blake Griffin really doing at this point? Like, he was a
Just
good
dunking.
defensive player and a dunker, but you had two guys who only dunked. Like, imagine rolling out this team in 2025 versus like the 2024 Boston Celtics or the Denver Nuggets or the Oklahoma City Thunder. Like, this team probably wouldn't even make the playoffs at this point. Like,
No.
Matt Barnes, AJ Redick, you'd have like the Wesley Johnsons would play there. You'd rotate like PJ Tucker. You had Jamal Crawford, but like you play 2K and you have two guys who can't shoot. It's like virtually impossible to get to the rim.
Yeah, those Clippers teams are the worst to play for. They were like fun. They're kind of like what the Supersonics were in the '90s. Like, they're just fun to play for. But I mean, they never made it past the second round. So they were just fun, like highlight team, but they could never. They're just not a fun team to play around. Nowadays, they wouldn't even win 50. They wouldn't even win. They wouldn't even be 500 at this point.
Yeah, I was always more of a Grizzlies guy. I liked Zach Randolph and Marcus Gasol, Mike Conley, and Tony Allen on that team was fun. Then they had Rudy Gay, Torian Prince for a little bit. They actually made a conference championship and did this thing called getting past the second round of the NBA playoffs, something that the Clippers are not familiar with until they got
Yeah.
Kawhi. But then
Yeah.
they got, yeah, because they got there with Paul George against the Denver Nuggets, and that was the year the Nuggets made the finals. So they actually did get there after Chris Paul. So the legacy of the Clippers, when you think about it, is really Paul George.
Which is just embarrassing, to be honest. Paul George, when I think about it, like, Paul George is just one of those guys I've never really liked all that much. Like the Pacers, I liked Roy Hibbert and Lance Stevenson, but I was never a Paul George guy. I never was.